the day. Has anybody ever met anybody more enthusiastic with life than Jodi Howe? I mean, enthusiastic with the kids, enthusiastic with her wonderful husband. When we had opening, I said, oh, please let's let Jodi come and talk about Little Lighthouse because we help in any way we can. But I haven't had an update on it for a very long time. Jodi has an undergraduate degree in Spanish, which I'm led to believe that she and Kevin speak only Spanish in their home. I'm making that up, but I guarantee you they both speak a lot of Spanish. And also she has a master's degree in occupational therapy. So for those of you that know about that wonderful thing, there's not a whole lot of OT people out there, and what they do is very, very important. So we're excited today to introduce Jodi Howe to bring us up to date on what's happening at the Little Lighthouse. You're up, Jodi.
All right. Okay. Thank you guys for having me. How's the mic? Okay. I'm so nervous this is going to time out, so I'm just going to move that for a second. All right. So I'm Jodi Howe. I know most of you guys. I know all of you probably know my husband, Kevin, and you're used to hearing him talk. So thanks for having me, and you get to listen to me talk. So like Connie said, my background is in Spanish and occupational therapy. I started working at the Little Lighthouse 9 years ago as an occupational therapist. And then 3 years ago, I moved over to work as the director of the Family Learning Center. And I'm going to tell you guys what that means in a second. I've left 15 minutes at the end for questions. So if you'll save your questions for the end, we've got plenty of time. I want to make sure we get to the videos of the cute kids. So here's where we're going today. What is Little Lighthouse? I'll talk a little bit about the history. I know a lot of you guys know the history, because what I really want to focus on is our current programs and where we're going, because there's a lot of new, exciting things happening that I want to share. Talk about a little bit what makes us different as an organization and how to get involved. Okay. Cue the cute video, and then I'll talk a little bit more about what is Little Lighthouse.
Welcome to the happiest place on earth, Little Lighthouse. Located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Little Lighthouse has changed paradigms for 50 years and counting. We are a tuition-free Christian developmental center for children with special needs ages 0 to 6. Our expert staff of teachers and therapists provides specialized education and therapy services by staying true to our mission, to glorify God by improving the quality of life for children with special needs, their families, and communities. At Little Lighthouse, never becomes not yet. Our dedicated team caters to each child's unique needs, and through early intervention, we've witnessed countless miracles and milestones. Within our walls, we see students feed themselves, walk for the first time, communicate their needs, and so much more. Currently serving 250 students, we prepare them not just for school, but for life. Little Lighthouse is changing the narrative and is a place of hope and light for our families. The world sees our students' limitations, but we see their unlimited potential and big personalities. Our students are funny, sassy, loving, and so intelligent. Our students are more than their diagnosis, and together we can help kids be kids.
I love the Little Lighthouse, and I love the Little Lighthouse. I love the lighthouse. I love you right now!
Welcome to the happiest place on earth, Little Lighthouse.
Won't make you guys watch that again. All right. So the big picture is that Little Lighthouse is a Christian developmental center for kids with special needs age 0 to 6. And really, our mission statement is to glorify God by improving the quality of life for children with special needs, their families, and communities. And we really focus on shifting the paradigm. We don't want these children or anyone to be seen as less than or to be seen as their diagnosis. We truly believe that they are made in God's image. They're gifts from God. And honestly, when you spend time with them, you end up learning so much. They're our teachers too. Oh, thank you, Connie. Okay. All right. History. Founded by Marcia Mitchell in 1972. Marcia Mitchell had a daughter born with some vision impairments. And she was a mom. She had been a drama teacher, and she was looking for services for her daughter and was having to drive to Oklahoma City to get vision services. And she had a mom friend with her, and they were looking for services for their kids. And they went to all these doctors saying, can you help us find services? And finally, there was a doctor that said, ma'am, if you want that, you have to start that yourself. And Marcia tells the story that she was always like, how could he say that? Blah, blah, blah. And her friend said, you know what, Marcia? God can. God could do that. And so they started in a little schoolhouse in 1972 with one teacher and a volunteer. So then they partnered with the public school system until 1976 because the schools told them, okay, now that you're part of the public school system, you need to take prayer and your Bible-based curriculum out. Essentially, you can't pray for your kids, these kids anymore. And so there was this big debate as a result of, if we lose the school's funding, I think we're going to have to close. And the board and Marcia decided we feel called to be a Christian developmental center. We want the freedom to serve these kids how we want. We're gonna see what happens if we stay open. So they lost most of their staff, most of their kids. And really, Marcia describes that as like the death of a vision, you know, when you think that something's going to go a certain way, and then sometimes God has to have that die for resurrection, you know? So ever since then, it has just grown and grown and grown and grown. So in 1990, it moved to 36th and Yale. In 2013, it was named Oklahoma's top nonprofit. And then we moved into the new building where it is now in 2016. And that's when I started working there. So I got really lucky. I moved right into this new facility and started working there as an occupational therapist. Little Lighthouse launched their Family Learning Center program in 2018. So most of the time when you think of Little Lighthouse, you think of our developmental center, which is like think of a preschool. It's like our full-time preschool program where kids come from 8 to 1 and they get therapy and special education services. Well, we kept growing and our wait list was getting bigger and bigger. And so the first idea was, let's just expand and create more classrooms. And then it was actually a group of moms said, no, you need to serve the families on the wait list better. Like, you need to serve more kids. And so really the dream of the Family Learning Center program was born, where let's have a program where people can get services once a week for a 2-hour class. The parent comes with the child. And that way, when you do it like that, you're seeing people once a week. Right now, we have the capacity to serve 120 in that program. So instead of just opening 3 more classrooms and being able to serve 30 kids, we're able to serve 120 families. Most of them are on our wait list for the developmental center. So instead of just waiting on the wait list, they're getting services. And our team is making sure they're plugged into therapies and getting them resources while they're on the wait list. So in 2022, we celebrated 50 years. And then 2023, we launched our online academy that has free training. So I'm going to tell you about in a second. So that's the history. And I know a lot of you guys kind of know the history. I really want to focus on what we're doing now. So current programs, developmental center, think preschool. Family Learning Center, think part-time program with families, where we're really focusing on trying to equip and empower the caregiver and also create community, because so many of these people are isolated in their home navigating a diagnosis. So we put 5 to 6 families together in a class so the parents have community, and we offer special education and therapy services. And then we have an outreach program, which I'll get into. Our outreach program oversees our mobile classroom, which I'm going to show you pictures of real fast. Okay, this happened this year that a lot of people don't know about. We launched a mobile classroom, again, trying to reach. Right now we have 500 families on our wait list. Yes, and we know that we can't serve everyone, but there are a lot of families, particularly in North Tulsa, that can't get to Little Lighthouse, a lot of times because of transportation and other barriers. And so a couple years ago, Transformation Church donated $50,000 to Little Lighthouse to start something to try and serve the kids in North Tulsa. So it took a couple years, but really the dream was, why don't we make something mobile that could serve North Tulsa and other areas like smaller towns that can't get services. So that launched this year, which is really exciting. It's in the pilot small phase. But this top right picture is my friend Riley, speech therapist. And then down here is my friend Taylor, who's a special education teacher. So basically they took a family learning style class of let's get these parents and their kids in North Tulsa together, and serve 4 kids at a time in this really nice trailer. And there's a sensory room in the back of the trailer, and a classroom in the front. It's really nice, and try and bring services to them. And so that program's really in the baby stage, but there's kind of a lot of potential for that. That is a good question, not me. There are 3 people that are on that license and insurance. Yeah. Not me. And then the other program that I wanted to tell you guys about is we have a whole outreach branch. So this is a picture of a map of all the places that we know of that Little Lighthouse has touched. So this is we have international interns. So we accept international interns 3 times a year. So people from other countries can apply to come here and learn. We also have done mission trips before. And then we launched in 2023 this Little Lighthouse Academy. I don't know if I click on this, if this will work. Let's try. Okay. So if you or anyone you know is looking for some free training, this is all free. You go to littlelighthouseacademy.org, and we have a couple of courses. We have lots of ideas for more. But you can take a free course on cultivating an accessible church, designing an inclusive classroom, who is the child with special needs, behavior, play, vision. And so Kevin's like, is that a PowerPoint? And I said, no, it's like a class. There's videos in it. It's like taking an online class. And if you're a therapist, you can get free CEUs for them. So it is pretty professionally done. And so through that academy is really, let me go back to this, is how we've reached all these places on the map. Lots of people in other countries are accessing our resources, which is really, really cool. Okay. I wanted to go back to one other sweet video. Okay, so I talked a little bit about the Family Learning Center, but I wanted you guys to see a video of what it is.
Welcome to the Family Learning Center at Little Lighthouse. Little Lighthouse is a tuition-free Christian developmental center for children with special needs ages 0 to 6, and the Family Learning Center is Little Lighthouse's part-time program that serves students alongside their caregiver. The Family Learning Center aims to create a community where caregivers are empowered, supported, and equipped with resources to thrive and find joy in their child. Each class meets once a week for 2 hours and is a collaborative effort led by an expert team of Little Lighthouse staff, including a certified special education teacher and a dedicated group of occupational, physical, and speech therapists. Along with our staff, classes have up to 6 caregivers and their child. Our classes follow a thoughtfully designed routine of community building time and specialized education and therapy services. One of the most important aspects of the Family Learning Center is the intentional time that the caregivers have with their child and with each other. Our mission extends beyond educating children. We're here to empower families. At Little Lighthouse, we are helping kids be kids and helping parents be parents.
See if I can get back. Okay, so the Family Learning Center, that's my job. I'm the director of the Family Learning Center. And I feel so passionately about the program, and I want to make sure people in the community know about it, because I think there's this idea at Little Lighthouse of, oh no, you can't be served for 2 or 3 years because our wait list is so long. Our wait list for this program is less than a year. So I always just want the community to know that if you know a family who has a child with special needs, to get on the wait list. And if they want our part-time program, usually within 6 months, they can get in. And they come once a week, and we see so many miracles. And I think part of it is because we're pouring into the parent, the caregiver. I'm looking at Peggy. Get to see Peggy. We're pouring into the parent and the caregiver, and that's who's the expert on the child, right? We're just helping facilitate and giving our ideas. And the other great thing about doing therapy at Little Lighthouse is we are not bound by any kind of insurance. So because we're a nonprofit, we're not having to bill insurance. So we really are hope-filled. We pray about what we're going to do, and then we just try it. I think because we don't have these limitations, we really don't set a lot of limits. We just problem solve and try and can work together because we don't have those insurance rules. And that's why it's really, really great place to be a therapist or a teacher. And it's just, I think also some people think Little Lighthouse is, might be a sad place to see, or, oh, it'd be so sad to see all those kids. It is so happy. It is a happy, hope-filled place to go visit. And part of it is because of our staff has so much love and hope for these kids. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about what else makes the Little Lighthouse different. Oh, was a little bit what I talked about. So we really do a transdisciplinary approach: physical, occupational therapy, speech therapy, teachers, assistive technology, and then the parent. That's kind of our team. And we're all pouring into the child. And really in the Family Learning Center, we're not measuring a lot of things. We do one parent-led goal. We always ask the parent, what is important to you? What would you like us to help you with that would make your life easier over this semester? And so we measure and pour into that one goal. And so every child gets an individualized plan. So this is on the other side. So now switch your brain to the developmental center. So this is like our preschool program. Every child has an in-house assessment. This is kind of how we measure progress. And it's a strength-based approach. So basically what happened, this is before I came, 10 or 11 years ago, they used to do standardized tests on these kids. And it was not going well because those standardized tests are based on a system of lack and what kids can't do. And I understand why that is needed by the insurance systems, but we don't need to do that at Little Lighthouse. And so it was saying, this 2-year-old has a 2-month developmental level. Well, that wasn't helpful for us or to the parent. So we took those standardized tests, looked at, okay, what are we measuring? What can the kids do? And we had a team of teachers and therapists create a whole new assessment. So they're based on developmental milestones. But it's all in parent-friendly language, so simple language of what to expect next, and it's all positive. There's no this, he cannot do this. This is what's happening. So an example, and they're highlighted means they can do it. So one of them is learning symbolic play, because kids need to know how to play. And so some of the steps are plays with object, functionally plays with object, means puts brush on hair, engages in pretend play. So it just breaks down the steps of how you acquire a skill. And we get to show this to parents, like, look at what your kids learned this semester. We serve about 250 kids in the developmental center preschool program. We've got 10 classrooms. And then in the Family Learning Center, we have 3 classrooms. So between that, it's about 250 kids and over 90 diagnoses. You do not need a diagnosis to get on our wait list or to get in. You just need to have a parent concern. And then before you get into our programs, we do our own in-house screening, because we do have some kids that don't have a diagnosis, but still have some delays and they can still receive our services. So we really don't focus on the diagnosis, which I like because so much of the world and the doctors do. They hear so much about what your kid can't do and the diagnosis. So we really focus on what they can do, where they're at right now, and how to get them to the next step. Funding. I know you guys are wondering, how the heck are you free? Okay, so we're a tuition-free facility. If we were to charge tuition, it would cost about $37,000 for each developmental center child. And right now we have 88 children in the developmental center. Okay, if we were to charge tuition for the Family Learning Center, our part-time program, it would cost $6,000 per child. We've got 120 kids in that program. So the average, this is the coolest stat, our average donation from just the community is $172. So that is the coolest statistic because it means that we have thousands of people that give what they can to our organization. We do have a monthly giving campaign called The Crew that you can say, I'll give $10 a month because that's what I can afford. And so a lot of people will just give what they can, and the average donation is $172. We also have a full-time grant writer, so that helps. We do get grants and foundations and churches, but it really is all donation-based. And they start the year, and our Department of Development does not know where the money is going to come from a lot of times. And this year, we upped our budget from $4 million to $6.3 million because we're opening Oklahoma City. Sorry, you guys, I'm jumping around because I'm getting excited. Okay. OKC campus opening in 2026. So our budget jumped big time because we decided that the world needs more little lighthouses, and the timing was right. And we had several families on our current wait list from Oklahoma City. So we could basically argue like we already have enough kids that we could serve that were on our wait list. And we have some families driving from Oklahoma City to receive services in the Family Learning Center. So Oklahoma City, it's going to open sometime in 2026, and it's going to be much smaller. It's going to be 4 classrooms. They're going to start small. They're in a leased building right now, and then they're going to build their own building in time. So we have a nice building in Oklahoma City that we're leasing. They're doing renovation right now. So as soon as the renovation's done, I think it'll be sometime, we're hopeful for January, it might be March, sometime in 2026, Oklahoma City will open. And they're going to have a developmental center and a family learning center, which is really cool. And so last year, our executive director is Molly Smith. She's wonderful. She's just a few years older than me, and I think very wise. I cannot believe. Anyways, I think she's great. She's wonderful. I would not want her job. She restructured our whole organization so that we were set up to grow these branches, because the idea is to get little lighthouses in lots of major cities. So she took the senior leadership team to meet with Life Church, because it was like, what other organization has successfully branched well? So they met with Life Church about kind of how to restructure leadership to grow. And she restructured our whole organization so that we can start growing these branches. So we're trialing Oklahoma City, and I really foresee us opening up in more cities. There's been people are talking about Kansas City. Anyways, nothing's for sure yet, but there's a big call to start. We're set up for growth, which is really cool. That's another thing I wanted to share about. So really our dream is to continue to open them up all over the U.S., because I think the world needs more places where these kids are seen as equal and beautiful and gifts, and let's try and figure out what they can do. Okay, I'll go back to where I was. Okay, this video is a little bit longer, but it's beautiful, so I felt like it was worth showing. This is one of our students in the developmental center named Gideon. So I think it's about 6 minutes. Yeah, turn down the lights.
Where are the most beautiful places in the world? They're usually up on top of a mountain or deep into the woods. The thing about those places in the world, they're usually a little bit hard to get to. You have to hike deep into the woods to get to that special spot. You have to climb a mountain to see the view, and not everyone's going to find it. And so that's kind of how I feel like with my son Gideon. He takes a little work to get to know sometimes, just to learn how he operates. But whenever you do figure that out, he's the greatest view there is. I think he's just one of the greatest wonders of the world.
We're here. Yeah.
You're a good politician, John.
Good to see you. Good morning. We're glad you're here.
Good morning, kids.
Hey.
Hi, bud. Good morning. Oh, you look cozy. You look nice and cozy in that. Hi, good morning.
You ready for today? You ready for today? It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's starting to wake up. It's circle time.
My husband is John, and I'm Becca. We met when we were in 8th grade. We had our first son, Shepherd. Then we had Gideon next. I remember telling John that we were pregnant again, and we were overjoyed because we knew that we'd have a little brother or sister, and that they were going to be best friends forever, which is what's happened.
I went with Becca to all of her ultrasounds. The first early when she didn't see anything, the pregnancy looked like it was going just completely normal. And then by about the second trimester, they were seeing something they didn't like.
When they started seeing the scans of Gideon, even at 20 weeks, they knew there was going to be big issues. And so that's kind of when it hit me the first time in one of those appointments I was like, how serious is this? Like, do I need to be like putting him on the wait list for Little Lighthouse? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I definitely would get him on that wait list.
It was 1979, and I had just started my company, and the guy 2 doors down happened to be the chairman of the board at Little Lighthouse, Jim Jones. But he told me about it. I went back to his office, and he kept talking about the lighthouse, what they do. My wife and I got involved. Then our children started coming.
I couldn't wait for the Little Lighthouse events. When I was a kid, my favorite one probably was the Laps for Little Ones.
They would come to all these events. We had a arts and crafts festival, and our kids loved that too. The whole time I was on the board, my focus was really on, can we get a facility of our own sometime, and making payroll and just a lot of stuff like that. I think it's just about impossible to really tie into what it's like from the family standpoint, until someone really close to you has special needs.
His primary diagnosis is lissencephaly. He also has cerebral palsy and epilepsy from seizures, and he's G-tube dependent. That whole hospital stay, in the NICU is definitely surreal. One of the doctors had a Post-it note, and she was just holding on to it. It was really kind, but was just sort of reading and saying a lot of nevers. He will never eat, he'll never see, he'll never hear, he'll never stand, he'll never walk, he'll never crawl, he'll never sit up, he'll probably never hold his head up. My thought the whole time was like, what can he do? You just only said nevers.
You do? Where is she? Oh, you're right, Brooks. There's Toby. She's at school today. Hi, Tobers. What about Gideon? Is Gideon at school?
Yeah.
Where's Gideon? You're right. Gids is here. Good morning.
I love that phrase from the Little Lighthouse about rejecting the never and embracing the not yet. When I think about Gideon, I don't think of him as nevers, because that's how God is. God rejects the never. Since we've been blessed to be at the Little Lighthouse now, I've seen the most precious kids do the things that I honestly, as even another mom, didn't think they would ever do. And it's so amazing to see these moms recounting these stories about what the doctors told that they would never be able to do, and then coming at Little Lighthouse, and it's like the Little Lighthouse just doesn't even hear that.
I think the Lighthouse affects everybody in different ways. Hardly anybody doesn't know someone in their circle, especially these kids. Probably every kid in there is doing things that initially no one said he would ever do.
He can hear amazingly. He loves music. He loves his siblings laughing, but then also when we had our new baby sister and she cries, that also makes him laugh. So yeah, they said he could never talk or communicate, but I mean, that kid knows how to communicate. He will let you know like what he wants and what he doesn't want. So yeah, there's so many not yets that he's embracing, that we're embracing with him. And you never know what he's going to keep doing. I mean, the sky's the limit because he really is always surprising us.
Thank you, Lord, for making me.
Whew, that one makes me tear up every time. It's a really beautiful family, and I think shows so much more deeply and in your heart than me saying that we embrace not yet. When you see that, it's like, yeah, really, it's the most hope-filled, beautiful place, which brings me to my very last slide, and then we'll just chat and take questions, is if anybody's interested in getting involved. There's always possibilities to donate. We have 4 major fundraisers. So if you ever just want to attend a fundraiser, that would be helpful too. The garden party in spring is a fun one. And then mini laps in the spring is a kid one, but the garden party is like a brunch auction. That would be great if you just showed up to that. That would make a difference. If anybody saw the classroom and thought, I want to be in there, let me know and I can help you get plugged into volunteering. You can volunteer in other ways. We take anyone's gifts and services. We try and make it work. We just had a grandpa build some ramps for us so that kids could access our Fall Fest. So if anybody's great at making things, let me know, that kind of thing. And then I think the biggest thing you can do is advocate, like just try and shift that narrative in your head. I think the world is so full of what these kids can't do and that they're lacking. But if you shift in your head that they're a beautiful child of God, and I really believe they're here to teach us. And when you see them and you interact with them and you're not afraid, you just walk up to them and say, hi, beautiful. How's your day today? You see how they respond. So just trying to shift that narrative in your head, I think, is one of the most important things we can do. And that's what Little Lighthouse is all about, is trying to shift that paradigm to see everyone as God's children. Okay. And then do I turn off my... Okay. Yeah, just do both. Okay.
Is this working? You hear me? Anyway, tell me about the Skip Kids program.
Yes. I didn't even mention my kids. So something else that makes Little Lighthouse different is we have a reverse inclusion program. So SKIP stands for Staff Kid Inclusion Program. And if you are a staff member and if you have a child ages 0 to 4, from 0 to 2, we have a nursery on site. So I got to bring both my babies to work with me, which made it the best working mom job. And then once they're 2, they can go into one of these classrooms like you saw. And so every classroom has at least 2 typically developing peers, which is cool because our kids have all different diagnoses. Some kids may just have a physical impairment, some have a cognitive impairment, and then some are staff kids. So it's really just, it's a really cool program that I think benefits everyone. It's really benefited our family. Yes, childcare. And we moved Isaiah to Bethany School this year, and his teachers say he is the kindest friend. And I always say, I wish I could take credit, but I think so much of that is Little Lighthouse. I think he's around a hope-filled, loving community and sees how we all take care of each other and has really internalized how to be a sweet friend to his friends.
I wanted to. Henry, our grandson, was
Yes.
a skip kid. Gosh, it feels like it's not on. Anyway, and so I understand from our son and daughter-in-law, neurodivergency. Can you speak a little bit about that? Because they would say that Henry is neurodivergent. It's a broad thing, rather than he's high functioning on the autism scale or whatever.
Yes. Just in general, the term neurodivergence,
you don't
or how
mind.
it
I mean,
evolves to
just-
the SKIP program.
I understand that's a new, I don't know, it just seems like it's the in vogue expression. So maybe if you could just speak to why neurodivergencies become so the thing to say. Am I making sense?
I think so.
Okay.
You are. I'm trying to formulate my answer. Yes, because my understanding is that because the autism spectrum is so wide and because the DSM got rid of the term Asperger's syndrome, which was high functioning autism, really a new term has come out called neurodivergence that basically just is saying it doesn't necessarily mean that they have a cognitive impairment. It means my brain is wired a little bit differently. And that could include someone with maybe just some sensory processing issues, somebody that understands the world and takes in the world a little bit differently. They may call that neurodivergence, but I think that's a really positive word because it's about, hey, this person sees the world a little bit differently and we can learn from them. Is that good?
So I have a question.
Yes.
And then Kim's going to run the mic. Tell me about the ages of 0 to 6 was your developmental cell. How about your part? How old does a child
In the
what's
Family Learning
window
Center.
to get to come to your program?
Family Learning Center started out as 0 to 3 because the idea was we're going to serve these kids and then they get into the developmental center. But what happened was that we had lots of kids start to get on our wait list at the age of 3 or 4 with an autism diagnosis. And then it takes about 2 to 3 years to get into the developmental center. And we stopped serving kids at age 6. So we had this pocket of children that weren't getting any services. So then we decided, let's change our age in the Family Learning Center to 0 to 6. So we have babies and we have 6-year-olds. And so we really do serve 0 to 6. The only requirement is a parent is in class with you. So a lot of times if we get a 6-year-old with autism, we are working on resourcing that parent to get them in a full-time program or to get them the therapy services that we need.
Just a minute.
What happens to most of these children? When they age out, are there plenty of opportunities in the public schools, or what happens to most of these children?
That is a great question. We work closely with the public schools, and we have them come into Little Lighthouse and observe the schools that they're going to get. We work with their team, try and help them set up the IEP. The majority of the kids go into public schools. A couple of them homeschool, and we do our best to resource them in that bridge. Yes, in my opinion, there are not enough good services that can meet that need. We always have parents asking, can't Little Lighthouse go through high school? We're trying to serve our 500 0 to 6 on our wait list. So I really think Little Lighthouse will stay young, but there is a need. We do have we have a group of 4 alumni moms that are in the planning stage of trying to open a school that would be for kindergarten through 5th grade of a variety of different needs. So yes, there's a need for more. Most of them, we recommend public school system and we do our best to communicate with them. And some have great experiences.
Are you familiar with the Stars on Stage program in Broken Arrow?
No.
They have their handicapped kids paired with a mentor, another child, and they put on big presentations, plays and everything, and it's just marvelous. You should go to one of their presentations.
I'd love to.
do the parents have specific responsibilities during the week that their child is not in the little lighthouse to do things that help them progress?
That's a great question. I'll address it with both programs. In the Family Learning Center, that's a little more where we're sending home handouts and resources. Nothing happens if they don't do them, but we recommend and we'll give here's some therapeutic exercises that you could practice at home, or we'll send them a video of what to do. So we give recommendations. In the developmental center, they can communicate with their teacher about, hey, they're practicing this in school. You may want to try this at home. It probably happens more frequently in the Family Learning Center because we get to see the parents every week. So we get that accountability of saying, hey, did you try this? How'd it go? Oh, you didn't? Let's talk about, the barrier. How can I help you figure this out? In the developmental center, it is tuition free. We also ask that parents do 40 service hours, kind of as there to get the parent buy-in. So we ask that parents do 40 volunteer hours a year. Mm-hmm. Okay. You. Okay.
Years ago when, before they were at the facility at 36 in Yale, one summer I volunteered. It was when they were at Southside Christian Church. Mm-hmm. And one of the most heartwarming things that I saw was when all the teachers would get together in the morning. They call it flock time at that time. And I don't know if they still have that.
Yeah, great question. They still have flock. So every morning at 7:30, kids come at 8. And every morning at 7:30, our staff is required to be there by 7:30 in our seats. And we do a flock time. We call it flock. Apparently there was some people thought that it was birds, and we were like, no, it's about sheep. Jesus as the shepherd. So it's our time to get everybody on staff. We have 93 staff members on the same page. We'll do announcement. This is what's happening in the building today. And then somebody will lead a devotional or some sort of Bible study. Right now, Marcia Mitchell, our founder, has written 2 books, Milestones and Miracles and God's Work, God's Way, both about the Little Lighthouse. So right now our Flock series is going through the chapters of God's Work, God's Way, and talking about different chapters.
When I was in 7th grade, Marcia Mitchell was a student teacher in our speech class. Really? And then I just kind of followed along and wonder, how is she, I don't know how old she is now, but how involved is she now in everything going on?
Her and Phil are forever members on the board. So they're on our board forever. And so they come to board meetings. And then she'll come every year. She comes at the beginning of the year and speaks to our staff. So she kind of does the back side of things on the board. But for the most part, Molly Smith, our executive director, is the one running the ship.
Great. Anyone else?
Oh, the playground. That's another exciting thing that happened this year. We opened a new front playground. So if you guys have driven by 36th and Yale recently, look a little closer and you'll see a huge flower. And there's a new accessible playground built by ACS, the same people that did Whiteside Park and Elon Park, who made those accessible playgrounds in our community, made the Little Lighthouse front playground. And so one of our dreams is to have our back playground redone as well. But right now we're loving the front playground.
Boy, there's power in having the mic. I just thought of another question when I was your slide. I'm going to guess yes, but would you deem Harvard Avenue an accessible church?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
That's what I think, with the elevator and, flat level. I mean, the entries are easy to get into. So,
yes. I always have more ideas for kids' ideas for making things more sensory friendly and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But yes, I think of it as accessible and inclusive.
Yes, Miss Architect.
I was going to add on the sensory, what we're learning in our public buildings is how loud they are and how children that have particularly autism are really bothered by that. And in the airport project I'm working on, we have a sensory room that's just quiet for somebody who just can't stand to have all of that traffic that's going around it, not just a child, but anybody has sensory. So why don't you go back a slide so we can see that QR code for donations?
Sure.
I'm going to shoot that.
Do it. I want to make sure I took it from another Little Lighthouse slideshow. So let me just make sure it. I'm just going to make sure that works.
Connie wants to ask if there's any volunteers in the class. Are some already helping?
Well, I just want to say that most of you know my granddaughter goes to Little Lighthouse, and she's in Oklahoma City, and she has a gene mutation, and so we never really got much of a response of anything from her. But just this past week, and she goes to the family, so she goes for 2 hours on Wednesdays, and I go with her. And it's a little difficult to get down on the floor now with my knee replacement. But the teachers, in fact, her teachers were shown on the slide. But just this past week, they had 2 interns in from, one was from NSU and one was from OSU. So here was little Brentley in this chair with this tray with like the occupational therapist, the speech therapist, the physical therapist, but just little things that you wouldn't even think about. But they had chiffon scarves and they were holding them up. And Brentley actually reached out and was doing tug of war, which a year and a half ago, she would not have been doing that. And she's 3. And then they have these buttons that are switch buttons, and the green one was go, and it would say go. And so she hit that, and then this thing would spin around, and then the stop. Well, then she kept going, stop, stop, stop. And I was like, stop. But just that eye-hand coordination that she would have never been doing a year and a half ago. So it's just, and so we're just thrilled that Oklahoma City, will reach out to kids there too. But it's just amazing to see these kids actually start responding, which we thought Brentley never would have any kind of response at all. So, there's so many ways, and even if it's just a small donation, and go by and see the playground. It is really fabulous. You kind of want to get on there yourself. So, but anyway, and volunteering, there's volunteers that will greet the kids in the morning, and they just get so excited when somebody says, good morning, how are you? Just little things. So I'm off my soapbox, but it's wonderful.
Thank you, Peggy. We also have monthly community luncheons, which is a great way to get plugged in. I know some of you guys have been. Just get in touch with me, or go to the Little Lighthouse website, and you can look at where the dates are. They happen on Wednesdays, 11:45 to 1, and you just come get a free lunch and a free tour. And that's it, and a program. But it's a good way to see the facility, and you can really see for yourself all the joy and the hope there.
Anyone have another question? No? Okay. Well, Jodi, thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful presentation.
Thank you.